Today in this polytunnel right now, on the 27th of March 2018, it's about Clematis and growing Clematis in containers. Now, variety Montana Rubens, although there are many different varieties, I personally love Clematis with the lovely purple flowers. Of course, no flowers on this yet, but there will be soon, one day. But I like, because I always associate the lovely purple with the traditional Clematis, and this is what I like. But you can get different colours, all sorts of beautiful colours, and they really look lovely. And some people are thinking, well, I can't grow a Clematis because I don't have a garden. Well, you can actually grow them in containers, and they can do very well in containers. Now, this I purchased from B&Q for the sum of £3. And I think that's a very good price, especially when you consider just how big, you know, this plant could get one day. Of course, you can also set them in the ground, obviously. You know, you have them growing up fences, you can have them growing up walls, and they look very beautiful indeed. But so what I'm going to do is show you a little growing medium that I use. So I'm going to put them down there, and I'll show you what I've got down here. Now, if you've been following my channel of late, you'll know a little bit of how I've been working recently, and what I'm trying to do, because of busyness, is trying to streamline the process. Now, vegetable compost, multi-purpose compost, in fact let me use my finger, vegetable compost, multi-purpose compost, garden soil, empty container for potting, and at the back there, that is wood ash from the wood burner. So, what I'm going to do is use this big container here. For Clematis, you want to use the biggest container possible, but of course, if you do not have a large container, you can't get hold of one, you can't afford one, whatever reason, you know, small is better than nothing. That's what I've been told anyway. So yeah, with regards to this, I think this was purchased not by myself but by someone else for about £1 from the pound shop. So you know, or hopefully you can't afford that, you can get someone to give you a pot. So you know, as I stated before, it's better to grow something in a less than ideal sized container than to not grow anything at all. So let's have a look-see at what I'm going to do. Whoops, just dropped my phone on the floor there. Put it up there, look. That's it. Right, so let's start. Let's put the camera down. Right. It's lovely having a proper tripod, isn't it? I cannot believe that I didn't do this sooner, really. This, you know, using proper equipment and everything. I mean, in a way I was frightened of it, because my technical ability, to be honest, isn't that good, but you know, now I've kind of been shown what to do a little bit, things are, you know, doors are opening up with regards to my filming ability, and not making you guys feel consistently seasick or car sick or whatever with my absolutely appalling mobile phone footage. So of course it's not the fault of the mobile phone. The mobile phone can be used very usefully. But, right, so we're going to put this down here. Right, and what we're going to start off with is the garden soil. Now, you can use drainage stones at the bottom here, but I'm choosing not to, because if you live in a city or whatever, you might find it hard to get access to drainage stones, pebbles, etc, etc. What I'm going to do is put this on here. Now, my reasoning for using garden soil is because hopefully you can get hold of some of this somehow. Hopefully a friend can give you some if you don't have any. Ask around to someone and say, can I have some garden soil? And hopefully someone will allow you to have some. And next up on the list to put in the concoction is going to be vegetable compost. Now, why am I using vegetable compost, one might be saying? Because vegetable compost is more expensive than multi-purpose compost. Correct. And the reason why I'm using it is because it has more body, more nutrients, and of course, because the plant is in a container, it's got to get all of its nutrients from the compost, the growing medium it's in. And vegetable compost, this can be purchased from home-based B&Q, gardening place, garden centre, and relatively easy to come by. And if you have problems with mobility, etc., one of the excellent things about the world is now, is you can order things from the internet, or mail order, telephone mail order, whatever, and it can get delivered straight to your door. So here we go, a bit of beautiful vegetable growing compost there. And with Clematis, you know, they generally thrive in many soils. They put out good strong roots. They're not an overly fussy plant, but if you aim between a pH of about 6 to 7, you won't really go far wrong. So this is where we are up to now. Right. Next up is that. I'm going to now put a little bit of multi-purpose compost, because multi-purpose compost, you know, is unsurprisingly, as it states, multi-purpose, and it's not particularly expensive. In fact, you can get this for very good prices now from, you know, Aldi's. You can get it from Lidl's. You can get it from some of the Savers pound stretcher. You can get compost relatively cheap. Of course, you can also make your own. But the good thing about buying compost like this is it's been treated with, or whatever it's been treated, or sieve, whatever they do to it, and it's far less likely you're going to get an initial weed infestation, because we don't want that. So we're going to get the Clematis now. With regards to modern day botany, there are numerous varieties of Clematis, as there are most other plants, but you can get dwarf ones. And one I was looking at the other day, very beautiful looking plant, and it was pink dwarf. I saw it on a website somewhere. So you can get varieties that are dwarf varieties for containers. This is not, but you know, for the price of £3, I considered, you know, I'm going to put just a normal sized Clematis in this pot. So the biggest pot as possible, about 30 litres. You know, you want to be going about a good 18 inches deep, 16 inches wide if you can, but it's not the end of the world if you can't. If you just got a smaller pot, then use that. But yeah, I'm going to plant this. So let's have a look at the roots. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come behind the camera and give you a voiceover. I'm looking through the screen here. Look at that. B&Q, eh? There you go. Nice bit of roots on there. So what I'm going to do now, when you're planting Clematis, you want to have it a little bit lower than normal, because a lot of the Clematis shoots will be below the ground, and for whatever reason, if they get damaged, if someone hits them with a football or whatever, then there's still a bit of the plant under the ground, and that can be putting its roots down, etc, etc. So look at that. I'm going to put that in like that. Now this here, I've had this soaking in some water yesterday, and you can see that's nice and wet. You don't want to be plunging dry soil, if you will, along these roots into more dry soil. You don't want to be doing that, because you want to give it as much chance as possible in order to do well. So it's nice and moist. We'll make a little hole here. Now there's another little trick that I sometimes use, and that is to do this. Now I've got some fruit bushes here in some water, but that's a subject for the next video. So what I'm going to do is just put a little bit of water in there, not too much, but just to give it a bit of a chance. So I'm going to put that in, and I'm going to put that just a tad lower. So I'm going to fill that in like that. We'll firm that in nicely. Want it nice and firm. You don't want air pockets. So I'm going to put a bit more multi-purpose compost in and around. A little bit lower, just like that. A bit lower than the soil level, maybe an inch, something like that, a couple of centimetres. Somebody told me that a long time ago as well. When you plant clematis, plant it a bit below the soil level. It's funny, these things you pick up, isn't it? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of my wood ash around here. Now this, you may or may not be able to access this. If you live in an apartment, flat or whatever, it's probably unlikely you've got a fireplace or log burner yourself, but some people don't mind to get rid of it. It has beneficial qualities for the garden. Not to be used too much around fruit plants, but we'll talk more about this in a subsequent video. But yeah, so I like to do that. And this is a concoction of ingredients for growing mediums for plants in containers like these I've used before, and I tend to sort of use that quite often if I'm growing things in containers. I like that because the ingredients aren't too expensive. I call them ingredients, but they're not too expensive, and many of them you can get hold of them relatively easily. Okay, the wood ash might be a different one, but it's not totally essential. I use it because of the wood burner. But so yeah, there we go. That's a method you can employ in order to grow clematis in a container. And one thing that you need to be looking at now, of course, at this size, this plant is perfectly all right, just stuck in like this, but this will grow vigorously. As you can see, we haven't particularly had much warm weather, and in the time we've had, it's put out a lot of growth, so this will be very vigorous indeed. So what you want to do is you want to get some sort of support for it, and that support could come simply in the form of bean poles that you would use for runner beans in order to make a little wigwam for it to grow up. You could put one of them rose obelisks on there, just as long as it's got something to grow up. Or you could even put this, let's say you have a courtyard garden. Hey. Yeah, let's say you have a courtyard garden. It's concrete or it's slabs, and you've got a fence or you've got a wall, but you've got nowhere to actually put the plant. You could even put the pot by the wall or the fence, and as long as there's something for it to grow up, you could even grow this lovely clematis up the wall or the fence. So, just little things that you can think of. If you live in, a townhouse, let's say you live in the centre of London and you've got just a tiny little space from out the front of your flat, your house or whatever, onto the curb, and you've got just something on your a bit of space to the side of your front door. You could maybe put one of these there. So this, in conjunction with the hydrangea in a container video I did the other day, these are two plants that you can grow in containers to add colour and cheer. And I don't want people to feel limited by the fact they don't have much space, because yes, you can grow in containers. Take care and speak soon.